young man, can you please stand up, say your name? Louis, last name. Louis Mote? Mote, okay. What is it that you think I do? Motivational speaker? That's part of it, it's a smaller part. I am an executive director and founder of a nonprofit agency. The name of the nonprofit agency is M.A.D.E. Transitional Services. M.A.D.E. is an acronym. Everybody know what an acronym is? LOL, laugh out loud. Okay, so M.A.D.E. is an acronym for making a difference every day. If you can spend today, if tomorrow's not promised, which we know, and tomorrow's gone, forget about next week, next month, what would you do today? So I'm here today to try to make a difference in you all's life. So M.A.D.E. Transitional Services is a reentry agency. What we do is we work with the formerly incarcerated. So in simple terms, when an individual returns after committing a crime from a prison sentence, he comes back to his community. There's certain tools, resources, and referrals that he's going to need to successfully transition without going back to a life of crime, which is known as recidivism. So we assist in job readiness, training, which is resume building, correct identification, social security card, driver's license, non-driver's license identification, things of that nature. Then we also help with the interview process. It's called job readiness. So resume building, mock interviews, things that they may or may not. And then last but not least, also housing. We're in process next year, at the beginning of the year, Lord willing, we'll be opening up our first transitional house, which should have about 40 to 60 emergency beds for the formerly incarcerated as well as those who are without housing. So that's a little bit of what I do. The difference between a career and a job is a career is something that you love to do over a long period of time, and a job is something that you do temporarily until you find your career, more or less. That was your answer, correct? All right, your name is? Darius Minter. Can everybody just give Darius Minter a round of applause? So if we go according to Darius Minter's answer, we know that a career is something that you love to do. By show of hands, can anyone determine or figure out why I chose to do a reentry agency working with the formerly incarcerated? So what I do is I work with those who have already made that mistake, and I help them transition back after making that mistake and getting their life on the right track. So that's what M.A.D.E. Transitional Services does. However, a portion of our efforts must be allocated towards young men like yourselves to stop y'all from going down that wrong path. The reason why I chose to help the formerly incarcerated is because I am formerly incarcerated. I was arrested back in 2006 for possession of controlled substance. In simple terms, I was doing the wrong thing, down the wrong path, I was selling drugs. I got sentenced to 3.5 years. A lot of people say 3.5 is not a big number, right? Comes out to about, I think that's around 31 months, give or take. Still a small number, right? Jail, you can only do 1 day at a time. 1 day at a time. And then 907 days in state prison. 907. You got some people who did 5 years, you got some people who did 10, shortest people who did more. But you can only do 1 day at a time. 1 day at a time. 907 days that I can't get back. So that's part of how I came up with making a difference every day. I can't get those 907 back. But what I can do is be sure that while I'm out and took my life in a different direction, that I can try to make a difference for every other day that I'm out here. With other grown men, nothing nice about that. For you young men that are in the ladies, no ladies, you're in a negative environment. The correctional officers, very negative, very negative. You got guys that are miserable. You got guys that don't have any support on the outside. They burnt all their bridges, so they don't have anyone writing. They don't have anyone sending them packages. These individuals, they're miserable, and they're looking to impose their misery on other individuals. So I know we got a couple tough guys in here, you know, that embrace being tough, embrace being hard, embrace not being a punk. But just be careful with that thought process will get you. Because just as you are tough, somebody tougher. Somebody tougher. You can end up in a situation, you can be the toughest guy. But if you round up in the wrong house in prison, you could be in a house with all Bloods. You could end up in a house with all Crips. You could need to use the phone. It's the blood phone. Yo, son, we need that phone. There's 6 of them. 3 of them got blades. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? So these are the type of situations that you don't want to find yourself in. There's nothing nice about the prison life. Grace of God, I was able to stay positive, better myself during that process. I read, I studied, I worked out, got my muscles up a little bit, and just in case, you never know, but pretty much for the most part, a minor incident or 2, and I was able to get through my time by staying positive. I talk a little bit about how I was able to do that. Most people think being real is, when I was young, I thought being real was watch out for that dude. He hit another dude in the head with a bottle. He cut somebody, he shot somebody, that's a real dude, watch out for him. Watch out for him. Nah. As I got older and wiser, being real is just being true to yourself. If you're a nice guy, be nice all the time. Even if you're tough, be tough all the time. Don't be tough when it's just a smaller kid or a kid that you like your chances with. Be tough all the time. Whatever it is, be true to yourself. Because at some point in time, if you're pretending to be somebody you're not, you're wearing shoes that don't fit you. Wearing shoes that don't fit you get you into jams. It gets you into jams at one point in time or not. You're going to run into a jam. But those shoes that you fit in, whether you got to run in them, whether you got to fight in them, whatever you got to do in those shoes that's not your size, it's not going to be a good look. You're going to get exposed. So that's just something that I want y'all to really think about. Being true to myself. Who am I? Being true to myself. Who is the hottest rapper right now? Bobby Springer. About a week ago? So that's the hottest song out right now, right? Alright, so let's talk a little bit about Bobby Springer. That song, right? Let's talk a little bit about the lyrics. About 2 weeks back, I was with a gentleman named Shandu McFadden. He's out of Brooklyn, New York. And he does some of the same work that I do, working with the at-risk youth in Brooklyn. We talked about the lyrics of this song. Now the song is called Hot N-Word. That's the name of the song, Hot N-Word. Me personally, I struggle with that word. I grew up using the word, throwing it around. We consider it a term of endearment. There's nothing decent about that word. The origin of that word, the history of that word, there's nothing decent about it. So for me, what works for me is I replace the word with dude. So we just gonna refer to it going forward as hot dude. So when you talk about a hot dude, if you go to the feds, a hot dude is someone that told, someone that's telling. And we all know that there are some negative things that can happen to people who told, especially inside of a prison setting. He's basically telling you different things that's going on in his circle, in his hood. He's telling the whole song. So he says, Tone, known for getting busy with them Glocks. So he talking about his man Tone is known for having guns, and he gets busy with them. He uses them. Doesn't just have them, he uses them. Then he talks about Monster keeping it on him. He done dropped dudes. So his man Monster done shot some people before. This is what Bobby Springer's talking about. Then he says, if you ain't a hoe, get up out my trap house. So he's degrading women. Y'all laugh. That's funny, right? Nah, it's not funny, man. Nothing decent about degrading and disrespecting women. Nothing decent about disrespecting anyone, but especially women. Then he said, I've been selling crack since like the 5th grade. Well, y'all in 7th and 8th, he's been doing it already for 2 grades now. And I just told y'all where that lifestyle will get you. It's not a matter of if, whether you rob, you steal, you sell drugs. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So if you think that you are slick enough, I thought I was at one point. I knew there was a chance that I would get caught, but I didn't want to do it as a career. I was doing it as a job. I was going to go back, finish up school, stop selling drugs, go back and finish up school, and then go on with my life in whatever career I chose. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. I got caught first. That's why I'm here today. I wouldn't have been here today if that didn't happen. So then he says, Mitch caught a body about a week ago. Mitch. You know where Mitch is right now? Mitch is on Rikers Island. Mitch is on Rikers Island. They picked him up for the body he caught about a week ago. So the whole song is telling. Then GS9, Grimy Squad 9. That's a Crip set in Brooklyn. Now you got GS9K. The Bloods came out with Grimy Squad 9 killers. So you got gang violence. You You got murder, guns, drugs, degrading women, snitching. And what does Epic Records do? Sign up for $1 million plus. $1 million plus. So I bring that up just to open your minds up. I'm not saying, don't listen to hip hop, start listening to gospel. I'm not saying any of that. I listen to it, but you have to be able to understand that hip hop is just a form of entertainment. It's just a form of entertainment. At the time that I got locked up, Lil Wayne was the hottest then. Rick Ross had just came on the scene. Of course, Birdman, Cash Money, they was doing it. So all the stuff they were rapping about, I actually was doing. And you just need to be able to understand the difference, that there's a big difference between, again, rap and real reality. They either, if they are really doing it, they either talking about how they were fortunate enough to do it and stop and change, or they rapping about their friends and their clique that actually was doing it. So either way, there's no way that they still are living that lifestyle that they rapping about. There's no way possible. We talk about education. The resources are inside this building. Your teachers, your social workers, your guidance counselors, they're here. I want to talk a little bit about taking advantage of your resources, utilizing your networks. Networks are inside this building and networks are outside this building. Does everybody understand what a network is? Okay, so a network is tools and resources that you have linked with to gain whatever it is that you need. Whether it be education, whether it be life, job, career, that's your network. So education is key. And I don't just say that to say, everybody says education is key. But I'm gonna tell you something, right now, they building prisons based on how y'all are scoring. In your math and your reading. Prisons, they building prisons based on how y'all are scoring right now in your math and your reading. It's not a game. So y'all have to understand that if y'all aren't going to hold yourself accountable, if y'all aren't going to take responsibility for your own priorities, how can you expect someone else to do it for you? And if you're not, then they got a place for you. They got a place for you. You're at the age where your parents, your guardians, whoever it is that you're in the care of, is helping you. But when you get to 18, 17, you either got to work or you got to get out. In most households, you either got to work or you got to get out. What are you going to do? You dropped out of high school. The job you get is going to be about $8 an hour, $6 an hour. You're going to be slaving. You can't get anywhere making minimum wage. What are my options? That's when you're more vulnerable and when you're more susceptible to the negative stuff that's out there. The crime, the fast life, the friends that are doing the credit card scams, the friends that are selling drugs, the friends that are stealing cars. That's when you're more susceptible to that.